I know Holly is coming. Um, so hi everybody. We are, I think, 2 weeks maybe away
Mhm,
from leaving. Um,
mhm.
Bonnie, do you have somebody who loves you who will drive you to the airport?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Okay.
I should get with Connie though and see how she's getting there. We should all carpool.
Oh, that would be a great idea. Like one of the
Yeah.
husbands.
Yeah, my son said he would.
What a wonderful son.
Yeah, you know why? Because I do everything for him. I do everything for my kids. So they owe me.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think this is going to equal because
Yep.
he'll just probably go to a party
All the
afterwards.
trips to the airport, all their trips to the airport that I had to take them to the airport for. So now it's payback.
Yeah, you do it.
Yep.
And Paula, do you have someone who might drive you to the airport?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're good. Okay,
Mhm.
good. Um, when we return, we're going to land about midnight.
Yeah.
And somebody came one time, one person's husband came 24 hours early.
Oh,
So just remember, it's like Saturday Night Live,
mm,
starts at 11:30 and goes to 12:30. The plane is
mhm.
landing during Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
It's,
And it's clock changing weekend.
is it really?
Yep.
Whoa. So we lose an hour on top of it.
Yeah, we will.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Um,
What's how soon prior to the 7 o'clock flight would you recommend?
I mean, I follow the rules and I get to an airport 3 hours ahead of time for an international flight. I
Well,
mean,
this is Florida.
I'm
We're just
sorry.
going, we're just going to Florida. So
Yeah, you're right. Um, yeah, so I'm always afraid to say 2 hours because when I say 2 hours, I get there, like 2 hours and 15 minutes ahead of time. But sometimes, like if I said it to my sons, they would say 2 hours. Okay, so we'll get there around 45 minutes ahead of time. And I panic
Yep.
when
Hmm.
because I do a head count, I take attendance. Um, so yeah,
all
um,
right. Okay.
I tend to be more careful. I have never had anybody miss, but I've had people like running to catch the
Mm.
plane.
Oh my God.
Holly, you missed a wonderful Shakespeare discussion that we had earlier.
Oh,
Um,
I'm so sad.
so
Ah!
it turns out that Bonnie also is a great lover of Shakespeare. Favorite
Oh God,
favorite
you'll be
classic Cabrini.
besties.
Ah.
Not my favorite subject, Bonnie.
Oh, that's all we'll be talking about, so you better get used to it.
I'll just sleep while you guys are talking about
All
Shakespeare.
right.
We're going to speak in Elizabethan English the whole time we're down there.
Yeah.
Good. Well, then I won't understand anything you're saying.
Uh,
Do you want to say
I'll
anything
try to
about
speak Spanish.
do you want to say anything about the t-shirt situation?
Yeah, so we usually like to wear like Cabrini shirts one day, and I know some people don't have them, so I thought I could put an order in. Um, we get a pretty good price from the vendor who did our Cabrini Day at the Phillies t-shirts. So I think I have everyone's sizes now, Jerry.
Yes, you do.
Right? Yeah. All right. So I will email him and just get a price. I figure I'll just get them and then I'll just bring them to the airport.
Okay.
Do we want them to say Cabrini? Do we want them to say Cabrini something about Guatemala, or what do you guys think? Do you have a preference?
Cabrini.
Mhm.
Okay, not reference the Guatemala trip. Okay, all right, cool. I'll let you guys know. I'll send him an email.
And we get all the same colors, so when we have the picture taken, it's very color coordinated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very, yeah, it looks like we know what we're doing.
right. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Now,
Yeah.
some people said they needed like medium or large depending on fit. Do you know how his shirts run?
So the shirt that we ordered, I think it ran true to size because it's unisex. Let me text one of my friends because she got a different size than me. I felt that it ran pretty true to size.
Mhm.
Let me see. I'll let you know what she says.
Okay.
Okay.
You just have to close a window. There we go.
So, Bonnie, where are you flying in from? Are you from Philly?
Yeah, everybody's coming from Philly except Sharon and
Oh, except for Sharon. Okay.
yeah, Sharon and Meredith.
Oh, where does Eurydice come in from?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
That's a first.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. Um, so So at the end here, I have links to videos about Catholic social teaching. And there are seven principles of Catholic social teaching. And there happen to be kind of 13 or 14 of us going, I think 13. So I'm going to put names after each of the two, like for most of them, two names. I might do the first one and then pair you up. And so when it's time for you to lead the discussion in an evening, let's pretend it's Paula and Holly who are partners, and let's pretend they have Sunday night, which would be the common good. I would recommend before you go on the trip to, watch this video. The videos ask some good questions that you might even steal as your discussion questions, but obviously, we don't stick to the script too, very much. But especially in the beginning, people might be a little bit shy to talk. By the time we get to about day 4, you can barely shut people up.
Mm.
But just sort of, watch the video, and I think they're very good short videos explaining each one of the principles of Catholic social teaching. I don't think too many parishes give sermons on Catholic social teaching. And so for some of you, it might be pretty, fresh or new to you, but many people say it's the best kept secret of Catholicism. And they're basically human rights, principles of human rights. And so they're not particularly religious or particularly Catholic. They're really all human beings of goodwill can feel close to these principles. They, I'll give you a little background. They started under Pope Leo the 13th, which is why Pope Leo the 14th took his name. Pope Leo the 13th was living in the time of rapid change in Europe, especially industrial revolution, changes in people moving from farms into the city, a lot of poverty, a lot of unfairness to the working class people across Europe. And so he decided that unions were very important. And of course, then as well as now, People who own businesses don't like unions, but unions, Pope Leo XIII felt were very important for poor people who, worked, almost as, in almost like peonage. And so he began to develop Catholic thinking about how to apply the gospel and the teachings of the church to modern problems. And so that's how Catholic social teaching evolved, beginning, 150 years ago, I guess. And it's very significant that Pope Leo XIV chose his name because of his strong belief in Catholic social teaching and in the need for the church to speak to the lived experience of people who are especially being oppressed in today's world. So I just thought I would play one of these. They're made in Australia, and they are not pious. Sometimes, like in the United States, they'll have, like very pious people talking about them. But in Australia, they're really talking about the way the whites in Australia have suppressed the indigenous people of Australia. And so these are more edgy in that for many people, these would not be popular. Many people in Australia would reject these. But it's made by the equivalent of Catholic Relief Services and Catholic Charities over in Australia, and they go by the name of Caritas. So let me just play preferential option for the poor, and just to give you a taste of what they are like. And if you tell me if it's not working, if the sound or the video is not working for you. Okay. Darn.
The middle
We are
button.
all created in the image and likeness of God. And
No. It was working for a minute and then it stopped. Let's see if it works now.
we are all created in the image and likeness of God, and therefore are all considered equal and valuable. Unfortunately, not everyone experiences equality. Millions of people do not have access to food, clean drinking water, shelter, education, or fair working conditions. The impacts of climate change, conflict, and disease make access to these basic needs harder and leave people even more vulnerable to poverty. Catholic social teaching can help guide the ways in which we interact with one another and all of creation. One of its central ideas is preferential option for the poor. This means prioritizing the needs of the poor over the desires of the rich, the rights of workers over profits, and preservation of the environment over its exploitation. Preferential option for the poor helps us see and respond in love to the unjust circumstances in which millions of people currently live. God's preferential option for the poor is demonstrated in the life and teachings of Jesus. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, he teaches us the importance of loving your neighbor as yourself. He calls for us to look beyond social barriers and consider which character we will be in the story. Someone who walks on by when we see someone in need? Or someone who responds and acts in love? He challenges us to go and do likewise, reaching out in service to others. What are some barriers we might face when trying to help others? Can you think of a time when you acted like the Good Samaritan, stopping to help someone else in need? Preferential option for the poor calls on us to look at the causes of poverty. Inequality, the lack of work, land and housing, the denial of social and labor rights, and our lack of care for the earth, our common home, are things we must address. Pope Francis urges us to see how all these things combine to affect the earth and its people. In his encyclical Laudato Si', he writes, "We have to realize that a true ecological approach always becomes a social approach. It must integrate questions of justice in debates on the environment, so as to hear both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor." Caritas Australia continually seeks justice, including climate justice, alongside ending poverty, because this is what the communities we serve are calling for. Changes to the unjust systems and prejudices that keep them locked into poverty. Why do you think it is important to seek justice when trying to eliminate poverty? At Caritas Australia, preferential care for the poor is fundamental to the work that we do. We follow a strengths-based approach. This means we work with communities as they identify their own abilities and strengths. We walk alongside them as they build a better life for themselves and their families. This ensures longer-lasting change, with the ability for skills and education to be passed on from generation to generation. Your support of Caritas Australia has allowed us to continue doing this important work. Pope Francis tells us that the measure of the greatness of a society is found in the way it treats those most in need. How can you demonstrate greatness by living out preferential option for the poor in your own community? How will you join us in our mission to end poverty, promote justice, and uphold dignity?
First of all, did that video work? Could you hear it and see it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good. And did you see how it punctuated with questions?
Oh,
How it raised questions all the way through? Yeah.
yeah.
So those are good starter questions. One point that's important is that Father Greg used the strengths-based approach that the video talked about. And one of the questions I like asking in our discussions is, what strengths do you see as you live your daily life in Guatemala? What strengths do you see in the community? Because lots of times when people go to a poor country, they're struck by the poverty. And so people will say, "Oh, I felt so sad. They didn't have this. I could see that they really were in need," which is kind of a deficit view of a community. So rather than looking at what they don't have, it's important to see what they do have. And that's an assets based or strength based view of a community. And once we begin to, at the beginning of the week, begin to look at what a community has versus what it doesn't have, it opens up your eyes to see much more the reality of what's there. So that's probably one of the most important points that Father Greg always stressed. And look at what people have, not what they don't have. Any thoughts or questions or comments you wanted to make? So Bonnie, you said at the beginning that you were also a religion minor.
Major.
Major.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Sharon also was a religion major who's not on, who's going.
Mhm.
So that'll be interesting. And she also brings up Dr. Rare as
Mm.
her one of her favorite professors of
Oh
all
my
time.
God, I loved her so much.
She
And
is
you too.
she is still alive at age
Oh.
95.
Oh my gosh.
And my wife visited her the other day. She goes like every other week because she's pretty much homebound now.
Wow.
And my wife just had a book published, and
Mhm.
she has to give a talk at Villanova, kind of a book launch at Villanova. And it's kind of hard, if she worked on this book for like 12 to 15 years. And
Ah.
so she has so much in her head. How do you
Mm,
boil it down into like a 40-minute talk?
mm,
And so she went to Marge Rare, and said, Marge, here's a copy. Um, and Marge says, well, let me ask you some questions. And so Dr. Rare just began asking questions of my wife, and they were so perfect questions to help Sue kind of pick out what are the most important points. So even without reading the book, she was coaching my wife on how to
mm.
approach giving this talk.
What is the book called?
Um, when doing good is
Mhm.
not good enough.
Oh, wow. Hmm.
And it's how Catholic Relief Services, like many Catholic institutions, I went to Fordham. And when I was at Fordham, Fordham officially declared that it was no longer Catholic.
Mm,
It's a Jesuit university because the state of New York would not give financial aid to a religious institution.
hmm,
And so they said they're no longer Catholic in order to get the money. And
mhm.
many religious institutions didn't go that far, but often chased grants, did things because they could get money for them rather
Mhm.
than doing what needed to be done in a community.
Hmm.
And her book is about Catholic Relief Services and how in 1994, the genocide occurred in Rwanda.
Mm,
And Catholic Relief had been working in Rwanda for, a couple decades, and it did not see it coming.
hmm.
And all of a sudden, it woke up one day, and people in their midst, even people who worked for CRS, were slaughtered. I mean, priests killed nuns, nuns killed priests, priests killed parishioners, parishioners killed priests. I mean, it was based on like a tribal, um, you know two massive tribes against one
Mm,
another, hating one
mm.
another, and it was repressed. And then all of a sudden, the hatred came forth.
Oh.
Um, and so CRS said, "We've been here for 20 years, and we did not see this coming. What's wrong with us?" And so it was they had built the best wells, they had fed the most people, they had
Mm,
built the most hospitals, but none of that prevented a genocide. So
mm,
they went back to the drawing board and said, well, who are we as an institution? And
mhm,
they said, we can't just be a good NGO, a good non-governmental organization. We have to be based on justice and solidarity, Catholic social principles.
mhm,
And so CRS was all around the world. So how do you get people who might be in Tanzania or in Australia or in the United States um, to come together and agree on a set of values?
hmm,
And so, like many of us have belonged to institutions where we've had um, new strategic priorities, and every time we would do a strategic plan at Cabrini, everybody would roll their eyes. Well, CRS did it, and everybody was represented from drivers and cooks and cleaning people all the way up to the vice presidents, and everybody had a chance to speak over several years.
mm.
And so that's what her book is about, how
Nice.
CRS, stop being an organization that only did good and became an organization that sought justice among people.
Right.
So thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So that's Dr. Rare. Asked her
Yeah.
great
Where
questions.
does she live? Is she like in the Bryn Mawr area?
She lives in Malvern
Oh, okay.
in her home. Yeah, yeah. I'll
Mm.
tell her you asked.
Well, I have a pair of gloves that she gave me one time, like lace gloves. She said they were, I think she said they were her grandmother's. She gave them to me and I still have it. She was such a
Oh
sweet
my
person to
God.
me. Yeah.
I will definitely see her in the next couple of weeks and I will
Yeah.
tell her that. Wow. Okay. She'll be so thrilled the two of her students are going to Guatemala
Oh, I wish I
together.
could go see her. Ask her if I can.
She would love to have visitors.
Oh.
She's as funny as can be. She is the best teller of jokes and she
Oh
never
God.
forgets a good joke. Okay, let's get back to class. So let's see if I can do this. There must be an easier way, but I have to close my Zoom. Oh, God. Exit full screen. Okay. Go to this one and then find Zoom. Faith, you have to come over here and do this for me.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enthusiastic.
Then we could start a Shakespeare book club.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let us see if this works. Okay. So this is a lot of practical things. So Father Greg really wanted to address poverty, both in its immediate effects and its underlying causes. And so one of the things that really struck out and struck me in my head when I first heard him say it was how important it is to listen to people's expressed felt need. And I
Mm.
may have said this in an earlier meeting where when he first came, you remember where he talked to where the video I think talked about how many people were starving and children malnourished. And he was able to get American foreign aid. And so he thought this would be great. The foreign aid would supply nourishment for the children. The problem is that American foreign aid is often based on what America has too much of, and we
Mm.
give away what we have too much of rather than what people need.
Mm.
So farmers for a number of years since, like the 50s and 60s produced too much wheat and corn. And this time, the farmers were producing too much wheat, and so our government still does it. It buys the excess from the farmers
Mm.
and sends the excess from the farmers to other countries to feed. Now, the problem with that is what is called foreign aid is actually aid for American farmers. And oh, by the way, what the farmers grow too much of, we can give to poor people around the world.
Mm.
Okay. At this time, we were producing too much wheat. And so the wheat was being sent to Latin America. Now, and it was made into baby food for the starving children, like in Guatemala. The
Mm.
problem is that the Guatemalans are people of the corn. They're not people of wheat. And
Mm.
so wheat was not agreeing with people. They weren't used to eating wheat products. And so it wasn't having the effect. They didn't like it. The mothers didn't like serving it to the kids. The kids were not taking it. And so it was an example to Father Greg of we thought we were doing good, but actually we weren't really helping. We needed to figure out what did the people want? What did the people say? And the people, being very poor, often were afraid to speak to an important American priest. And so they never had the confidence to say, Father, this is not our kind of food. We make tortillas. We raise our children on a different kind of food. Until Father Greg, you know, decided that he needed to listen and to listen to the leaders of the community to what they wanted rather than relying on what the United States thought people wanted. So that's what Father Greg talks about expressed felt need. And that was the example that he used. And that was one of the videos that you watched about expressed felt need. The values of the mission are based on Catholic social teaching, dignity of all people, solidarity. We're all part of one human family. Subsidiarity, people don't really know the meaning of that word very much. It's not a word that we use commonly, but it means that problems should be solved on the grassroots level. And so it shouldn't be top down solving of problems. It should be bottom up solving of problems. So leadership development among the community is very important so that they take the leadership. And remarkably, over the last 10 years, the mission has transformed from kind of a outside leadership from Minnesota to now everybody we will meet who is in charge of some area in San Lucas is a citizen of San Lucas. And it's been a remarkable change, I think, really culminating this year with like even the young people who will be kind of our guides. It used to be Americans who would come for like a year of service after college. Now it's all people, young men and young women who grew up either in San Lucas or in the surrounding community. So that's subsidiarity, solve problems from the grassroots. And then the common good, working toward the good of everybody, especially the poor and vulnerable. So putting the needs of the poor over the needs of the rich. And that's what that video that I showed a minute ago was about. So the values of the Friends of San Lucas, that's the group in Minnesota that raises money for the mission, of cultural humility on our part, dignity of the human person, recognizing people's dignity, compassionate action, transparency and accountability. Where does the money go? How are leaders chosen? So transparency and accountability, and delight in diversity. So those are the values of the Friends of San Lucas. So the mission and the Friends of San Lucas has a legacy that is obviously rooted in Catholic religion and Catholic social teaching. But yet people from all religions and no religion come to the mission and spend time there because of a common shared values of social justice, solidarity, and the belief in the dignity of the human person. Okay, and then these are some of the tenets of Catholic social teaching. Holly is a dog sitter. Is that one of your dogs or is that Bonnie's dog?
No, it's mine. Sorry.
I'm on mute because I got
I'll
three
put it on
dogs
mute.
here.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It sounds like um,
She's
somebody, a dog wants to
It's
be
usually
cuddled.
my dog that's causing a ruckus, but I muted myself.
So cute. Okay, so the culture. Um, so the Guatemalan culture, especially around San Lucas, um, is distinctive and it's been around for thousands of years. The language that is spoken in our particular region is Quechical. I just highlighted Quechical. Um, Still spoken, especially by older people. Um, and they actually made a short video that I might play next week in which you can learn a couple words of Quechical. Sometimes I do a scavenger hunt, and one of the questions is um, ask someone to teach you a phrase in Quechical and come back, and that'll be one of your points for your. For you. That's Holly's. Um, Come back and speak a phrase in Quechical. So if we do
Wait, I never got that challenge. Do we get extra points for that?
did you ever do a,
Faith,
did you
Faith,
ever
is he
do,
making that up?
did you ever do the scavenger hunt?
No, I don't think you did it while I was there. Are
Probably
we
the
doing it this
years.
year?
We haven't done it in a while.
We should do it.
Okay.
Holly, stop. Holly.
Okay, never mind. Faith said no.
I
Why? It sounds fun.
it is fun. I think one year Ange did it and Ray and they brought back a cake for Ray and me. And so of course they won.
Because you had to. What they do is they take all the stuff that they want for the week and they say, go find it. It's a scavenger hunt. And then you bring it back and it's theirs for the week.
No, it is. It is very educational.
Uh-huh.
We might throw in a few like pastries that you need to buy for us. So we split people up into small groups and put a Spanish speaker in each one of the groups. So I think we have three people who are fluent in Spanish. So we'll probably have three groups of four.
I like it.
Yeah, you could do that like the first or second night. And it's a neat way to learn the town because I make you find like where Father Greg is buried. You have to take a picture of his.
I've driven by that cemetery, but I've never been inside it.
Well, so there you go. So
See,
you will.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, it's really beautiful. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm excited.
I'm glad. I'd like to get you excited. Okay, next. Um, so many Guatemalans wake up very early, head to the mountains for work. The women prepare meals for their husbands, get their kids ready for school, and then often go to the market. And market is very central, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. The mission is right next to the school. And so we will constantly hear the kids like running to school or they'll be out, in at playtime. The younger kids go to school 7:30 to 12:30, and then high school is 2 to 6. But many kids can't go to school because they're needed to help raise, work with their families. So although kids in the town, many graduate high school, even go to then a business school often afterwards. Many kids don't have the chance to go to school. This is interesting. So work. Many men work at what are called day laborers. And this means they don't have a formal job. It would be like here going to Home Depot and hoping somebody will hire you. So it would include cutting wood on the mountains, harvesting crops, maintaining fields. women do housework, take in laundry, make tortillas, clean homes to earn extra income. And then when we get together at dinner time and after dinner, the church is connected to the room where we will, have our dinner, and we'll often hear groups singing. So the church is actually serves as a community center. It's one of the, main places where people can get together and do, have some sort of recreation. And there's a lot of different churches, and you'll find every single denomination imaginable, evangelical especially, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormon, Baptist churches, all around the town. Faith, just butt in anytime, because Faith lived there for a summer, more than a summer.
Mm.
So everyone greets you, and often they greet you, and they're also hoping that you will buy some of their little hand goods. It's often hard to just like walk along the street because people are always trying to sell you something. And it's difficult, you want to, be kind and buy things, but you'll soon see that there are so many people who are selling things that it just becomes impossible. Oh, so we'll probably go to mass either Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, because it's where everybody goes on a Sunday. And they take up two collections. So if some of us have quetzales to put in the basket, and if you don't, you could put, like some American money in the basket. That's also fine. But also remember that there's a second collection. So they pass the basket around twice.
Jerry, did you already talk about on the call about getting quetzales ahead of time? Like I think I get them through AAA, but it's nice to have them when we're driving from the airport to San Lucas. We usually stop at a gas station. I think you can use your debit card, but I like to have them for just purposes like this. And of course, once you get to the mission, you can write a check and get them. But I like to at least bring like $100 in American dollars worth of quetzales for things like this.
Yeah, I think that's way too much. But yeah, Sharon talked
Okay.
about the same thing.
Okay.
I've never exchanged money ahead of time, and it's never been a problem.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I do know at the gas station, they don't like to take credit cards when we stop
No.
for a snack. And they do have an ATM machine there. So you can use the ATM. But if there's a place where you could get a small amount, like $25, I think would be plenty. The problem is when you change your money in the States, you often get gypped.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it in the airport at one of those money exchanges, they have a horrible exchange rate. So I usually just
I
wait
don't
until.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what the exchange rate was at AAA. And I'm sorry, did you already talk about the cash for the food shopping?
Oh, this year the cash for the food shopping is included in our $490.
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Everyone, just a heads up that yeah, like Jay-Z said, there is an ATM in the town we'll be staying, but it's like a ridiculous fee. I don't use it out of principle. It's like a 7% fee to take out money for Americans. So I don't do that like out of principle. I'm never doing that. You'll lose money if you
Yeah,
use
so
that
what I
ATM.
said last week was, bring a couple checks, and usually I just change one check for $100 the first day, and I bring a few extras. So if I know young people don't even know what a checkbook is anymore, is that right? It's all Venmo.
Uh-huh.
Jerry, make sure you bring enough money for ice cream.
Yes, I've been saving up all
Yeah.
my Social Security
Yeah. Okay,
checks
good.
for ice cream.
But is the ice cream made of some of the local water?
No, I
Ice.
doubt it. But after a hard day's work, there's like three ice cream stores right near the mission, and I've
Okay.
gotten into the habit of treating everybody.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
really wants to treat himself, and then he just brings us along. He will eat ice cream every night that we're there. Don't tell Sue.
I have been so good. I've been so good. Okay.
All right.
So money exchange. Yeah, we went over it last week, and we can change it at the mission on Sunday morning. But you're right. If you want to buy, and everybody on the trip, um, it's a 3 hour ride from the airport to the mission,
Yes.
and it's like from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock. So people get
Yeah.
hungry, so they want to buy like 9 pounds of potato chips to eat.
So what we did last year is when we stopped at that gas station, we all bought different kinds of chips and shared them, which was fun, like Guatemalan Doritos and like all kinds of chips and stuff. But it is nice. You're going to want a snack on the ride. And then, Sherry, because our layover is so short, assuming people are doing the same flight as us,
Yes.
I guess we're recommending everybody should eat whenever they get to the Philly airport, because when we get to Atlanta, there's really no time to eat, correct?
Yeah, we're not at Atlanta, but wherever we're changing, we have an hour and 12 minutes to change planes. And I think it's
Oh, are
about,
we not changing in Atlanta? Did that?
no, it never was this year. Uh,
Oh, are we doing Miami again?
no, I'm going to
Fort
say
Lauderdale.
Fort
Oh,
Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. It was probably because I was looking at other flights. We're changing in Fort Lauderdale. Okay. Yeah, but I don't think there's enough time. So we should eat at the Philly airport, correct?
Or buy food and take it
Or
on the
buy
plane.
food and take it
Yeah,
on the plane. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
because we won't eat from, well, will people even have breakfast? Uh,
Yeah.
we'll have time in the Philly airport to buy food and also to
Yeah.
eat if we want. But yeah, we
Okay.
only have an hour and 12 minutes to change planes, and it's in a different terminal or a different, like branch. I asked ChatGPT how long a walk it is, and they said about 10 minutes. But, if you go to the bathroom, we don't really have time to, sit down and have a lunch. In the
No time for bathrooms. Everybody wear a diaper.
No. Okay. Why do we
Just kidding.
spend, we should spend an equal amount of time on Catholic social teaching as we're spending on bathroom
Okay.
habits. Okay,
I agree.
go on. Um, in the States, it's common to say no thank you in response to receiving food or drinks. In Guatemala, the polite thing to do is to accept it with gratitude. Many of the families we build houses for will purchase us drinks or snacks. Please say gracias. Um, Common way to greet friends and coworkers is with a fist bump instead of a handshake. I've never seen that. I don't know if that's true, Faith. Um, Bartering is very common. I have never gotten used to bartering, and I've
Yeah.
never gotten used to negotiating the price of something I wanted to buy. They see me as a sucker because I will always pay whatever they ask. But other people are a little bit more savvy than me. Is that true, Faith?
Yeah, I hate bartering. I don't do it.
I hate
Okay.
it.
How about you, Holly? Are you a good barterer?
No, I mean, no, I try to pay the price that they ask for,
Same.
but I do try to say no to the people that are like trying to sell us between the hotel, if we're
Yeah.
staying at the hotel, and the mission, because they try to sell you stuff every day. And it's like, well, I can't buy stuff from you every day. I'll have no money left. Like I'll have to walk home from Guatemala. So
Right.
I do try to say no to them, but I don't try to barter the price. I
Right.
just feel weird. I'm not good with that stuff, even here in the States.
Um, Main language spoken in Guatemala is Spanish. However, there are 24 different languages in Mayan dialects. Um, the translation is done by our young guides. Um, we used to call them long-term volunteers, but they're employees now, so I don't know what we call them. Um, and they do the translation, and we don't interrupt the translators. this is the extent of my Spanish knowledge, and that might even be a stretch for me,
It's
but it's
generous. That's very generous.
and so it's good to know at least a few phrases. Okay. Um, cultural humility. Um, have I stressed enough that learning is the purpose that we're going on this trip? It is learning is embraced as the primary purpose of a trip. So many people think of this as like a habitat for humanity. And everybody, I'm sure that you've said you're going to Guatemala, the first thing they say to you, oh, what are you going to do? Thinking that you're going to be building, that your primary reason for going is to do something, but it's actually to learn. So just to stress that again, as guests, our role is not to help Guatemalans or their society. Rather, we are here to learn from, accompany, and build relationships with the San Lucas community members. Instead of assuming, hi, I'm here to help you, we encourage you to consider the mindset, hi, I'm here to learn from you and see if I could be of help either now or more importantly, when I return to the United States to help people understand what Guatemala is really like. And I'll be using some of these questions the first night. What are my values and how might my values differ from those in San Lucas? What may inhibit me from keeping an open mind? Am I willing to be corrected or redirected? What am I learning and how can I continue to learn? Am I imposing my own ideas of how things should work on the people and culture around me? Okay, we did some of this last week. We talked about photos last week, about asking. Well, the first thing is take fewer photos. And there are a lot of people who have missed last week and this week. So I'm going to say this again, when we have everybody together, let's try not everyone every day to be taking pictures. I mean, Faith sets a good example. I think she usually leaves her phone back in her room. And the more of us can do that. I usually keep mine in case there's an emergency, but to just not be taking our phones out and taking pictures all the time gets so annoying. Don't take pictures of people without asking permission. Don't take pictures of children, period, unless you have their permission of the parents. Social media guidelines, again, you don't post pictures of people without their permission. And try not to post pictures of children unless the parents say it's okay. I think I said this last week, no donations. All donations go through the mission. Tipping, not expected. In fact, everybody connected to the mission earns a fair wage, even a good wage. And so we don't tip anybody who works for the mission, don't tip our drivers, our boat drivers. So basically, they do not want to promote the idea that the North Americans are coming and now it's time to put our hands out. I have to not swear. And we talked about this last week. Alcoholism is a serious problem. And I'm starting to buy travel insurance. Some of you don't, but hopefully none of us will ever never ever need to be evacuated. Again, don't brush your teeth with the contaminated water. Mosquitoes, we've had a long talk about. General safety, we've talked about. Construction, talked about. And lastly, work site safety. I don't think we're going to do, using like circular saws and things like that. So I don't think we have to worry about these things. Okay, 7:59, not bad. Anybody have any questions, thoughts?
Um, I'm just curious, Faith, how are you handling the book thing with Angelina? Are you buying books when you're down there? And is there a place to buy books in town?
We're gonna do it on our boat day in Santiago and San Juan. We're gonna look for places to buy books. But I don't know if you follow her on LinkedIn, but she posted something and to get some donations.
Yeah, she posted it on the alumni
Yeah.
page too. I just wasn't sure, once you get down there, where can you buy books? I don't think I've ever seen a bookstore.
Yeah, when we go to San Juan, that would be our best chance. But
Okay,
it's still a risk. We're not, but I know that she's going to bring some too, if she wanted to
okay.
do that. Um,
Are,
yeah.
are the teachers going to tell you what books are appropriate?
Yes. We
Uh-huh.
had a meeting last week.
Oh, did you? Can you tell us about the meeting a little?
Oh, sure. Everyone, we're building a little library. I don't know if anyone knows. It's like a lending, those little free public libraries that like are all over the states. Ange and I are gonna put one in the school that we're gonna go tour. Um, and we are thrilled because we thought that we kind of looked at it like it was kind of like a burden. Like we had the idea and they okayed it, but we kind of were like, let's make it least amount of work as possible for them. But once we met with them, the school principal wants the school to be heavily involved in building it. So they want the students like help us put it together. They want the students to
Awesome.
paint it. Yeah, so they want the students to pretty much do all the work. So Ange and I are kind of just like bringing the materials and we'll be there and help and supervise. But the principal thought it'd be a really cool activity for like the teenagers to like build it and paint. So we thought that was really cool. And then we're gonna stack it with books. Something to keep in mind, um, because it's a third world country, like they're not normally in the States, right? You only have like 10 books because people take one and then replace it. But something that they told us to be mindful of was we have to stack it with like 30 to 50 books because people don't own many books there. And so it's going to be hard to refill. So that's why we really have to focus on getting a lot of books because that's something like a cultural difference that in the States we can replenish these things really easily. Where in Guatemala, Patricia, the principal, asked us to keep in mind that there not many families own books. So it's not as easy to just like give and take one and give one
I
back.
don't think I've ever seen a library in San Lucas. Jerry, is there like a library for anyone to go to?
Is there a library at the school?
No. Well, not like a designated library. No.
Hmm.
Faith, I have a question.
Yes.
Uh, I am a volunteer at a secondhand bookstore that operates within a library. And at times we get donations that are foreign language. If I were to come across any children's Spanish book, would they be suitable for me to lug down?
Yes, that would be awesome. They have to be in Spanish. So as
Course,
long as, yeah, as
course.
long as there's no English, and then yeah, as long as they're age appropriate,
Okay.
that would be great. We were told to hit home on, let me see if I have it handy right now. I can ask Jay-Z, I can send him the specific stuff that we were told to include in the books, and he can put it in the email notes if that's cool, Jay-Z. Because I do know that they wanted us to touch on certain subjects if we could, but I don't have that handy right now. But yeah, if they touch on, they wanted books about that would help young people deal with their emotions. So like, yeah, like I'm feeling sad or angry, like stories about their emotions would be great.
I
Yeah.
know recently we got a lot of Italian and a lot of Chinese. I will check to see if there was any load of Spanish.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can anybody remember when we go through through Miami, do we have to recheck our bags for the international flight? Do we have to go through TSA a second time for the international flight?
Good question.
Gosh, I don't remember.
I'm
I'm
gonna
assuming
ask-
you do.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT because I know
Yeah.
Faith and Ange were talking about checking a bag, but since we have so little time to retrieve, if we do have to check a bag, if they do have to check a bag, I don't think that there will be time to be able to retrieve the bag and then go through TSA and have it inspected.
So
So
if
that
you
might-
check a bag, it doesn't just get on the next plane. You got to retrieve it and then recheck it.
That's
He
what I'm
doesn't-
asking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, I'm here with Tristan, and he said that he doesn't remember doing that whenever he went. And we also went to DR, which is also like an international flight,
Yes.
and we had to take a layover, and we didn't have to do that either.
And
Okay.
it's blue on both legs, right? So usually you don't have to, they will transfer.
Okay. That's
We need to check. We need to check.
yeah. So Faith, you and Ange should check before you decide to check a bag,
Okay.
just to make sure, because that tight transfer time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, great. Nice seeing everybody again. And our second to the last meeting will be next week, and then we'll have our final meeting. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you. You
Have a
too.
good one,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.